Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. Before we begin today's gripping story, do not forget to like Taran and Saibu Sekraiba, because trust me, you are about to hear an aviation story so shocking, so preventable, and so tragic that it changed the industry's rules forever. And if you're watching from anywhere in the United States, this story begins with a flight that took off from American soil, but it never made it to its destination. Now let's step into the darkness of Halifax, Nova Scotia. It's the 14th of October 2004. The time is 3:30 a.m. and the world is asleep. At Canada's Halifax International Airport, the cold air bites through the night like a razor. Runway 7 lies in silence. No movement, no wind. Just the faint hum of lights glowing in the fog. Suddenly, the silence cracks. Four massive Pratt & Whitney engines roar to life. Their deep, thunderous vibrations ripple across the ground. A Boeing 747-200 cargo aircraft, MK Airlines Flight 1602, is alive and preparing to charge down the runway. This aircraft, a giant built in 1976, has survived almost 3 decades of service. But on this particular night, it is moments away from a tragedy that would end in flames. The crew on board is experienced, dedicated, and exhausted, dangerously exhausted. Yet none of them have any idea that in just a few seconds, their routine takeoff will turn into one of the most disastrous and preventable accidents in aviation history. MK Airco mission from the United States, departing Windsor Locks, Connecticut, and then onward to Zaragoza, Spain. Halifax was just a refueling stop one. They had done many times before. It should have been simple. Load fuel, check data, confirm thrust settings, and take off. But aviation has no mercy for small mistakes. And tonight, the mistake wasn't small. It was catastrophic while the aircraft waits at the threshold. The crew goes through their checklists. Captain Michael Thornyscroft, a 51-year-old with over 23,000 hours of experience, sits in command. Beside him, First Officer Gary Keogh, also highly experienced, prepares the instruments. Behind them are the flight engineer, load master, 2 relief pilots, all seasoned professionals. But they're all fighting the same enemy: extreme fatigue. MK Airlines had a long history of pushing its crews beyond reasonable limits. They often scheduled 24-hour duty days with 18 hours of actual flying, sometimes more, for Flight 1602's straight hours before this takeoff. The human body is not designed for this reaction. Time slows. Judgment blurs. Attention to detail, critical in aviation, starts to slip, and on this aircraft a single detail would decide everything. Earlier in the night, Grogo, machining for Repondrix and damaged goods returning for repairs. The total weight of the aircraft had reached approximately 360 tons, an enormous mass requiring precise calculations to safely lift off the runway. To determine those calculations, thrust takeoff power, E-speeds, the crew used a Boeing software program called the BLT Boeing Laptop Tool. It was advanced for 2004. But no technology is safe from human error while entering the data. The captain accidentally selected an old aircraft weight of 238 tons, a weight used for a previous much lighter leg of the journey. This single mistake seemed lighter on paper. The BLT program calculated much lower thrust settings, 20% less than what was needed, and produced reduced takeoff speeds. Instead of needing around 150 knots, the software told them to rotate at 132 knots. In aviation, those numbers are life or death. This error should have been caught immediately. Standard operating procedures required 2 crew members to cross-check all takeoff data, but simply accepted the numbers. It was dark. It was cold. and nobody questioned the data. The runway was slightly wet, the temperature around -1 degree Celsius. A heavy aircraft, wet runway, low thrust. This combination was lethal, but no alarms were raised. Nobody said, "This feels wrong." Mowed, the engines growled, then roared. The aircraft accelerated down the icy runway. Faster and faster, the wheels rattling beneath the enormous weight at 132 knots, the captain calmly called out, "Rotate." But the aircraft did not want to fly. The thrust was too low. The ground was pulling back, but gravity was pulling harder. The captain pulled the nose up. And a horrifying screech echoed across the runway. Tails strike the back of the aircraft, scraped violently against the ground, showering sparks in the darkness. But the worst was still to come.